In this video, we'll be covering the topic of work and time. So let's take a look at the problem. A does 80% of a work in 20 days. He then calls in B and they together finish the remaining work in 3 days. How long does B alone take to do the work? So this problem requires a little higher order thinking. It's not so direct. First, I'll be taking the total amount of work as X. This is the total work. Now the question states that A does 80% of the work in 20 days. So A will do 80% of X, which is the work, in 20 days. Now we can find out how much work A does in one day. In one day, 20 will come out to this side. In one day, A will do 1 by 25 of the work, 1 by 25x. This is A's contribution in one day. Now let's look at the question. He calls in B and they together finish the remaining work in 3 days. So let's first find out what they mean by remaining work. The question states that A has already done 80% of the work. So the remaining work will be 20%, which is 20 by 100 of X. This is the remainder that A and B have to work in together. So they do this in 3 days, both A and B. Let us first find A's contribution in 3 days. Now we know that A works at the rate of 1 by 25x per day. So in 3 days, A would have finished 3 by 25x. So now we can find out B's contribution. We know that the total remaining work is 20 by 100. So B's contribution will be 20 by 100 minus 3 by 25. And this will give, this can be simplified as follows. (3x by 25) can be written as 12x by 100, which will give 8x by 100. So this will be B's contribution in how many days? 3 days. This is total of B's contribution in these 3 days. So we have found B's contribution 8x by 100. Now if this is the work done in 3 days, then in one day B would have done 8 by 300 of the work. This is B's contribution in one day. Now that we have found out the amount of work that B does in one day, we can find out the number of days it takes. We need to find X, which is the total work, and we have to multiply this by 300 by 8. So same here, and we get 300 by 8 days. If you simplify this, you'll get 37.5 days. So this is the number of days that B takes alone to do the work.